Hi, this is Em, and today I'm just going to do a quick video. I have more time to craft in the winter, and each year when I start into crafting, I forget, oh, what did that product do, and did I like it better than another? And so I'm going to take these 14 items, and I'm going to put them, I'm going to put, I'm going to put some on a piece of paper and then another piece of paper on top, and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at the results. I will probably either show this in fast forward mode, or I will just do it off camera and then come back and show the results. So we'll talk specifically about each product when we look at the results, but I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what I'm going to be using. I'm not really going into the longevity of the product or the water resistance if you're going to use it in some water-based mediums. So please keep that in mind as I'm talking about these things. For example, the glue stick rates very highly, in my opinion, for not buckling the paper and being a good hold. However, I don't think I'd use glue stick or glue stick solely in and of itself for a journal cover that gets handled all the time. I would use a glue stick for helping to glue, say, tags or elements or embellishments that don't get as much wear and tear as other things may do. So please keep that in mind as you hear me talk about the different products. If you find you want to use one of these products for your own purposes, and you do want to use them in relation to water and or heavy-duty use, you might want to do a little more research or testing just to make sure that a given product is suitable for your particular application. This was on. Now it's been a couple days later, and I believe we started out with something like 14 tests that I was going to do, and now a couple days later, I can't remember if it was exactly 14, but we're up to 25, because as the days went by, I found more things to test. So hopefully you'll stay with me to the end and find these interesting. I tried to make sure that I applied the 2 pieces of paper for every one of these in the same way so that our tests would be somewhat fair. And again, what we're looking for is how straight is the paper as to not wiggling, and then how well is it going to stick together. I will show each product as I do it, just in case you're interested in buying or finding the particular product. You'll know which one has which result. So having said all that, let's get started. The first thing that we're going to look at is the Elmer's Craft Bond Fabric and Paper Glue Permanent Wet Tack Dries Clear Launderable, acid-free. As hopefully you can see, it's not too wiggly. It's a little bit wiggly, but not super bad. Let's see how it held together. Very good. I'm going to have to rip the paper to get it apart. So yes, that holds together very well. So to sum up, I think it's not too bad as to the wiggle, and it holds really well. Let me get a pencil. I'm gonna do 2 things. The first one is going to be hold, and the second one is going to be wiggle. And I've got to give a star system. Hold, I'm going to do 1 through 10. I would give it a 10. And then the wiggle, I'm going to give it a 7. All right. The next one we're going to look at is tacky glue. Aleene's tacky glue, all-purpose adhesive, versatile and durable. I don't see where it says anything about not intended for washable wearables, so this is not water resistant per se. The tacky glue, in my opinion, is wigglier than the craft bond. Let's see how it holds together. Oh, not nearly as well. Yeah. No. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm going to give this a, I don't know, a middle of the road. 5 is to hold, and I don't know, 4 is to wiggly. So they're all arbitrary. Your rating systems might be different. The next one is Elmer's Glue Wall. And we all are probably familiar with Elmer's Glue Wall, all-purpose glue, bond strong for all your needs, safe, non-toxic. Porous materials. I don't think this is water resistant. I don't see. All right, how does it hold? Well, it holds better than the tacky glue, that's for sure. I'm having more resistance when I do that. So I would say that the hold would be probably 6, and then the wiggly, you know, interestingly enough, this isn't very wiggly at all. I thought Elmer's glue would be much more wiggly. It's probably on par with the craft bond. And what did I give that for wiggly? I gave that a 7. Okay. PVA, bookbinding glue. That's this guy. Professional quality adhesive, acid-free, solvent-free. I don't see anything about water. Water soluble. It says it's water soluble. Okay. Oh, it's holding pretty good. Oh yeah. All right, the hold is very good. It's on par with the craft bond. Yeah, okay. And the wiggly, it's probably on par with the tacky glue. It's more wiggly than the Elmer's. Yeah. Okay, so the hold is on par with the bond, so I'm going to give it a 10 for the hold. And then the wiggliness, I'm going to give it a, I'll give it a 5. Next one is Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac. Where is my Fabri-Tac? Here it is. Beacon Fabri-Tac. Bonds fabric, lace, glass, leather, wood, and trims. Grabs fast. And let's see. Pre-wash fabric. I was trying to see if it says that if it's water soluble. Washable after 24 hours. Okay. So yes. See how it holds. It's better than the Aleene's Tacky, and not quite as good as the craft bond and the PVA. So I'm going to give it probably a 9 because it's holding pretty good. And for the wiggly, it's not very wiggly. It's not really very wiggly at all, so I'm going to give that a pretty high rating. I'll probably give it a 7 too. Alright. Fabric Fusion is up next. And that is this guy. Aleene's Original Fabric Fusion Permanent Fabric Adhesive. Ultra Flexible, Machine Washable. Oh, let's look at the wiggly first. Yeah, it's not wiggly that way, but you can see where it kind of goes this way and then up that way. It bows. I guess bow would be a good word, but it's not wiggly wiggly as as some of the other ones. See how it holds. It holds really well. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay. Let's say it's on par with the Fabri-Tac, which I gave a 9. And the Wiggly, let's see. It's more wiggly than the Fabri-Tac. So I gave the Fabri-Tac 7. Let's give this a 6. Julep. That is, I'm going to find it. It's another Eileen's product. Holds jewels permanently through repeated washings. And that is, it's a little wiggly over in here, but it's not too bad over here. That's in middle of the road. Oh, it holds really, wow, it holds really well. Yeah, so that holds pretty well. I'll put that up there with the 10. And then as to wiggly, I'm going to give it a 5 because it's pretty wiggly. Crafter's Pick is very wiggly. Look at that. Look at how wiggly that is. That is this. Let me find it. Okay, Crafter's Pick. The only non-toxic water-based superglue adheres to metals, plastics, glass, and more. So I like that it adheres to a lot of things, but we're looking at how it does on paper. And on paper, it's very wiggly. Let's see how it holds. It holds very well. This paper is ripping because this part here, where I put the most glue, is closer to the edge, is so together that it's not even coming apart. So I'd say 10 to the hold, and wiggly is really bad. I think it's one of the most wiggly we've looked at so far. So let's give this a 3. Glitter glue. I know a lot of us use glitter glue. Designer dries clear adhesive permanent, water-based, non-toxic, dries acid-free. Trying to see if it said that it was water resistant. Most non-washable surfaces. And what surprises me about the glitter glue is how wiggly it is. I actually thought the glitter glue was going to be less wiggly because I've been using it a lot lately, and after these tests I'm thinking, no, I'm probably not going to use as much glitter glue, at least not for paper like this. Let's see how it holds. It holds really well. Wow. Actually, I think it's got the best hold. Yeah, that held really well. Although once you get it started, it's tearing. So I'm going to put the hold at 10. And the wiggly's really bad. It's going to be down to 3 again. And again, this is just all my humble opinions. You might be watching this going, oh, no, I disagree. Well, good. So you do your own rating system. This is Collage Podge. Matte, water resistant, glue, sealer, and finish. Who's that by? Another Eileen's product. And this is also very wiggly. Yeah, it's pretty doggone wiggly. Let's see how it holds. It's got really good hold too. So I'm gonna put it at a 10, and I'm gonna put it at a 3. I'm kind of at these really wiggly ones. I guess I'll do a 3. Matte Mod Podge. That's here. Water-based sealer glue finish. Apply with brush or sponge. I was trying to see if it says if it's water resistant. I don't think it is from some other tests I've done, but some of you might know better. Anyway, matte Mod Podge. I put it on with a brush. There's a couple of them that most everything else I put on with, I laid a bead down and then I smoothed it with my finger. And then there's a couple things that I actually used a brush to put on, and this was one of them. And as you can see, it's really curling that way a lot. But it's not as wiggly as some of the other ones, but it's certainly curled up this way. Now what I don't know is if you can work that out. Okay, let's see how it holds. Well, it holds really well. Wow, okay. Wow, all right. So 10 has to hold, and it's not as badly wiggled as some of the other ones, so I'm going to give it a 5. Min-Max Poly Acrylic is another one that I applied with a brush, and that comes in a can that I got from the hardware store. Dries clear, ultra fast drying, easy water cleanup. And I think I was trying to see if it says if it's water resistant. It's for trims, cabinets, ultra fast drying, water based. Yeah. I'm not seeing at a glance if it says if it's water resistant or not. I'm thinking that it might be, but some of you out there might know. Dry cleanup, use soil and water. Can be used over bare wood, both oil-based and water-based. That's good to know, both oil-based and water-based, because a lot of times oil and water don't mix. Makes an ideal top coat over Min-Max water-based wood stains. Yeah, I'm not finding anything more that's addressing the water resistance of it. Let's see how it holds. Oh, actually this holds better than I thought it would. We didn't do the wiggly test yet. It's not as wiggle, wiggle, wiggle as some of them, but like the Mod Podge, the matte Mod Podge, it bows in. Now I'm wondering if, because this paper has nothing on it and this paper bows in, if all this paper had been applied with the Min-Wax, then maybe it wouldn't bow just in the area that got painted, because this part's pretty smooth. The part that got painted that isn't, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, it's smooth as far as not being wiggle wiggle, but I don't know if it can be worked out. I believe that it probably can. Yeah, see how good that is now? So I think you could work it pretty smooth. I'm going to give it a 10 as to holding and wiggling. I'm going to give it a 7. Then we've got PPA Matte, which is, where's the PPA? Hold on just a minute. Okay, I found the PPA Matte. It's Art Quest. Universal Acrylic, Clear Drying, Non-Tacky, Adhesive Medium, Permanent and Archival Quality. And I believe that this is also water resistant. So it's a little wiggly. It's not as bad as some. Actually, it's really not that bad at all. But it does bow a little bit. Let's see how it sticks. It also sticks really well. Okay. So I'm going to give it 10 on the hold and 6 on the wiggle. And then PPA Gloss, it's the same kind of bottle, it just says gloss on it instead of matte. because I don't see the bottle down here. And again, it's kind of like the mat. It's not really wiggly too much. It's actually pretty smooth. I'm pretty impressed. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. It's quite smooth. See how it holds? Holds really well. Okay, I like this. Let's give that a 10 as to hold, and I'm going to give it a 8 as to wiggle because it's very smooth. Liquid laminate. That's a Beacon product. All-in-one laminating product, great for all decoupage products. Bonds, coats, seals, fabrics, and paper onto glass, plastic, wood, cardboard, and more. Okay. Now, it's pretty wiggly. So, see how it holds. Oh, it doesn't hold at all. Look at that. These two pieces of paper don't tear any. Wow. Okay. I'm surprised that it says it holds for glass. I'd have to see that to believe it, that it doesn't do much for paper. This is probably I'm going to give it, what's my lowest as to hold? I'm going to give it a 2 as to hold on paper. It's just not good at all. Oh, that 2 hold. The second number was. What am I doing? Oh, hold is the first number. I've already forgotten the rating system, and the wiggly is the second one. Okay, the wiggly is probably about a 4 or 5. We'll give that a 4, and the hold I'm going to give a 2 because it's not. Liquitex Matte Medium is another one that I applied with a brush, and it's a little wiggly, but not too bad. Let's see if it can be smoothed out at all. Yeah, so I'd probably the middle of the road. It's a little wonky. See how it goes like that. But it feels smooth that way. See how it holds. I'm thinking it should hold pretty good. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, very good hold. It rips the paper before it'll tear it apart. So that's a 10. And I would put the wiggly at the middle of the road, like we did some of the other ones. Weld Bond. Oh, I didn't show you the Liquitex Matte Medium bottle. Let me do that first. Here's the Liquitex Matte Medium. Opaque when wet, and then of course it's permanent non-yellowing. This is Weld Bond. Steel Tough Weld Bond Universal Adhesive. Bonds most anything. Dries crystal clear. Permanent and flexible. So it's got a lot of good buzzwords. Alright. So it's about middle of the road for wiggly. You know, it's wiggly. See how it bonds. Well, for all of the things that it said it did, it's not the best for bonding paper together. I expected it to be tough as nails. Let's give it a, I don't know, I'm going to give it a 6 as to hold and a 4 as to wiggly. I had to just because this is Wet n Wild nail polish, which I don't have near me. I must have put it away. Anyway, it's just Wet n Wild. It's clear nail polish, and I wanted to do it just because nail polish is very not wiggly. The only reason why there's a little, looks like a wiggle here is because I didn't get the nail polish on this area, so there's like an air pocket. That has nothing to do with the nail polish, but the part that is polished is very, very straight. See? Nail polish really doesn't wrinkle anything per se, but I don't believe it has any hold. Yeah, no, there's no hold. Which is what I thought. But I wanted to do it just because. So hold is going to be a 0. I'll give it a 1 just because I don't want it to be on a shutout. And then as to wiggly, it's going to be a 10 because there is no wiggle. We're almost done. I think we. So the Avery glue stick, which is over here, and it says it's washable and acid free, but I don't see anywhere on this particular one where it says permanent. I have some Avery glue sticks that say permanent on them, so I don't know if they just dropped the word on this packaging or what, but this is the one that I used for the test. And as we would suspect, there's really no wiggling at all, so that's really good for no wiggle. How is it going to hold? Oh, actually it's holding better than I thought. Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. All right. So I'm going to give it an 8 to 9 as to hold, and I'm going to give it a 10 as to wiggly. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Elmer's rubber cement is always good for no wiggles. Too bad it stinks so bad. Those of you who have ever smelled rubber cement, oh my word. I love rubber cement. I just wish it wouldn't stink so bad. I'd use it more often. And it's kind of weird to put on. It's got its own little brush that you brush it on. No wiggles at all per se. It's very straight. And I didn't do what the directions say to do, which is usually to put a little cement on one side and then put a little cement on the other object that you're going to glue together and then put them together. I didn't do that. This is just one layer with the brush that comes into the rubber cement, which is right here. Elmer's Craft Bond rubber cement. For those of you who've never worked with it, it's very kind of stringy. And like I say, it just reeks. But I love it for no wiggles. Let's see how it holds. Oh, it holds really well. Look at that. I can't even... This is the same pressure I've used on everything else, and I can't even get it to budge. And I'm really pulling hard now. And that's just with one layer down. I just did one on one piece of paper and put it together. Wow. Okay. This, if it didn't stink so bad and when it's easier to work with, I'd use rubber cement all the time. So as to hold, I'm going to give it 10 and a big plus. And as to wiggly, I'm going to give it a 10 plus. In other words, this would be at the top of the list for no wiggles and ultimate hold of all the things that we've tested. Unfortunately, it's hard to work with and it stinks. Why? Why? Why do the things that are the greatest always seem to have the biggest other obstacles to take away from the spectrum? I don't know. This is clear gesso, which I used. Which one? Oh, I did 2 kinds. Did I do kind? Yeah, I did 2 gessos. And with the gesso, I think I did use my finger to apply it. And I've got 2 kinds of clear gesso. One is the Dina Wakley, and then and that's this one. And then the other one is the Art Basic. And this is press and seal. It's a technique that if you want to keep your lid, I use a lot of press and seal on a lot of different things because otherwise the lid will get stuck and be closed. So anyway, I use that on here. So that's what this is. But this is Art Basics Clear Gesso. We'll see if there's a difference between the two. This is the Dina Wakley one. And it's pretty smooth. It's quite smooth, actually, for the most part. I would probably give this an 8 or 9. Let's see how it holds. It holds pretty good, too. All right. I like it. I like it. All right, so I'm going to give this a 10 as to hold, and a, I don't know, 8 to 9 as to the wiggly. That's the Dina Wakley. And then the Art Basic Gesso. My paper's not as big. It's similar to the other one, and it's not really very buckly. It's maybe just like a half a point more buckly. See how it holds. Oh, it doesn't hold anywhere near as well. Oh, that's a surprise. There's just no holding at all. Wow. So I'm going to give the hold a 3, and I'm going to give the buckling 7 to 8. That's a surprise. We're almost done. Let's see. Plaid Dimensional Magic. And that is, did I bring it down? No. It's like a diamond glaze, only it's called Dimensional Magic. And it's fairly wiggly. Not as bad as some, so I'd probably give this a 5-6. Let's see how it holds. It holds really well. Yeah, the paper's starting to tear before it will undo its hold. So yeah, you probably notice that I'm giving most everything a 10. I've gotten to the point where if it holds real, what I consider really well, I'm just giving it a 10. So I'll just do that. In other words, it holds. It holds enough for the paper crafting that I might be ever doing with it. As far as just normal course of business, meaning it's not getting wet and it's not getting handled unduly. I don't think that I would, some of these I might not necessarily do the journal cover. Wiggly, I'd probably give that, again, middle of the road, 5 as to the comparing with the other ones. And then this is the Glossy Accents. Most of us know what that looked like. It's a Ranger product. The Glossy Accents is pretty smooth. It's not very wiggly. See how it holds. It doesn't hold nearly as well as the Dimensional Magic, which is surprising. I actually thought it would hold better. Huh. Okay, so as to the wiggly, I'm going to give it an 8. And as to the hold, I'm going to give it a 6. 6 to 7. This is diamond glaze, although I actually started to tear it off camera just because I was anxious to start, and this was the first one I was playing around with. So I gave it a 7 to 8 as to hold and a 9 to 10 as to wiggle. It's actually very smooth. And you can't tell from this side since I already tore it apart, but it was very smooth. So this is diamond glaze. Dimensional adhesive. Directly over artwork for a raised glass-like finish or as a dimensional glue for glitter, beads, glass, metal, plastic, and paper. And it's by Judikins. Okay, that's it. So now I've got this big pile of papers and that I'm going to keep because that way I can look at them when I forget what I did. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I'm not going to organize them on camera. Let's see if there were any highlights. I think we already talked about the highlights. Let me go through real quick and see. I like the glue stick a lot. And I thought the PVA was okay. That's the bookbinding glue. And the Julep, the matte and medium, what was that? 10.5. Tacky glue 5.4, Glossy Accents 6, 7, and then 8. Plaid Dimensional Magic. Actually, the Elmer's Craft Bond I thought was pretty good. Is that this one? I gave it a 10 and a 7. And then the Wet n Wild nail polish doesn't hold at all. And then the PPA gloss adhesive got a really high rating. Okay, And then clear gesso. Got a good rating. And the PPA matte. I was surprised that the PPA gloss gave a smoother finish than the matte as far as the wiggly was concerned. They both held well, but the gloss didn't seem to buckle as much. The rubber cement, of course, is really good. Matte Mod Podge, Clodge Podge. Let's see, glitter glue. Glitter glue I was disappointed with. Crafter's Pick, Weld Bond, Fabric Fusion. Fabric Tack gave a smoother finish than the Fabric Fusion, but they both held good. The Minwax Polyclear was a surprise. I gave it a 10 as to hold and a 7 as to the wiggly. Elmer's Glue All. I don't know why I gave the Elmer's Glue All a 6. I must have been more stringent in my rating systems at the beginning, because actually I'd give it higher now. And even the wiggly. The thing that surprised me about the Elmer's Glue All is it's not nearly as wiggly as I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to up this hold rating to be on par with the other things. So I'm going to put it into that pile. Okay. So what are we left with? Elmer's Glue All. I gave it a 10-7. Holds well and isn't nearly as wiggly as I thought. Minwax Polyclear, I gave that a 10-7, although looking at it compared to the Elmer's Glue All, it's worse as to the wiggles, so I'm going to reduce this down. This is going to be a 5-6 now, so we'll put that off to the side. Fabri-Tac, yep, I like that. The rubber cement, PPA gloss, craft bond, clear gesso, bookbinding, Avery glue stick. Okay, here's my pile that I'm going to start working with more than I have been. And then here's my pile of items that I'm not going to use as much. I will need to use them up, but once they're used up, I will probably be more in favor of buying these things that I just went through. Okay. That's it. If you stuck with me to the end, I truly appreciate it, as always. Thank you for subscribing and your comments. It makes doing these videos all worthwhile to know that hopefully I've maybe provided some information that someone might find useful. And if there's anything that you use that you like really well, I'd love to hear about it, because this is only based on some of the things that I have around. There's a lot more things out there. There's even a couple of more things that I have in my stash that I didn't do because, well, you know, 25, that's probably enough for one session. So thank you very much for tuning in, and you have a wonderful day.